My name is Lisa, and I'm in an adoption plan for my son when I was 16, and he was born when I was 17. And it was spring of my junior year in high school. I ended up waiting till my mom was watching like her favorite program on TV. I don't even remember what it was. And that's when I decided to go down and tell her, not good. She really didn't say anything. It was more just, vocal shock. I went and met with a counselor there. And of course at AAA, they talk about all of your options. And at that time, and truly throughout the whole pregnancy, I never struggled with, should I have an abortion? And I'm so grateful for that, because that really adds a complexity to something that's already complex. So just kind of went over my options, and I think in the beginning I was pretty sure that we're just going to get married and everything was going to be fine and we'd just move forward. And so somewhere between my first visit there and my second visit, by the second visit I said, tell me more about adoption. And so she then arranged for me to meet with Gloria at Bethany, and it really kind of solved all the problems right away. It didn't take away any of the hard stuff that would happen emotionally or physically, but there was some sense of security that this is a plan and this can work, and it can help somebody else too. I've talked to lots of high school students, and I think in one particular session talking with them, it occurred to me that you can love a baby a lot, but love is not all you need. What love you can give your baby may not be what's best for the baby. So I think just prioritizing the situation and thinking about Andrew first, what would be best for him, and in finding an answer to that, you discover what's best for everyone else along the way. So what was best for him, I knew in my heart, was to have a home where two parents could love him and raise him. He would have a first chance at living life. And then in choosing a first chance for him, the birth father and I could have a second chance to get back on track. After he was born, the one nurse in particular was very interested in the story and the adoption. And I think that turned out to just be a blessing in disguise, because I was able to share with her my adoption plan and reinforce and confirm what I'd been planning all along, without having to get overwhelmed with the emotions or any sadness that might come. I was glad that I got to meet him, and see his face. With the legal side of things, you have to wait a certain amount of days before your rights are fully surrendered. So during that time, he was with a shepherd family that was organized through Bethany. And so they were kind to bring him to Bethany so that I could see him. So twice I got to visit him before the placement day. And placement day was something that I wanted to be a part of. And I wanted to be there to hand him to his new parents. And that's not something that every birth mom chooses, but it was something that was important to me. The birth father and I looked at family profiles. They're very extensive. And I think one of the biggest surprises in going through this adoption plan was realizing how many choices I could make, and how much I could be a part in planning it if I wanted to be. So with Bethany's help, you can outline, your dream family. A lot of the families would write letters. Of course, they don't know who they're writing the letter to. They just know that some birth mother is going to read it. And so that was kind of special to be able to read that. And so when you narrow it down, at some point I said, I think I like this family. I'd like to meet this family. And my counselor said, well, the birth father picked the same one. We started out as a semi-open adoption, and agreeing on the reports that we'd get. And through those reports, they started asking about me and how I was doing. And also I was able to send letters and presents to Andrew for birthdays or holidays or whenever I wanted to. But then his parents and I started developing a friendship and just a true admiration for each other. That built up trust, and which eventually led to me asking them if they would like to come to my massage school graduation. And so I didn't tell anyone about it because I wanted to respect and give them the freedom to say no if they couldn't or didn't want to or didn't feel comfortable with it. But as it turns out, they came, and so we met 5 years later, and so he had just turned 5 when I got to re-meet him. So it was a pretty overwhelming good day. We met early in the afternoon, had lunch together, and I remember seeing this family unpacking from the car and wondering, do I go up to him? Do I wait till I see them in the restaurant? What do I do? But before I could figure out what to do, one of the oldest child, Andrew's older brother, said, "Hey, there's Lisa." And they recognized me. And so we just, reconnected in the parking lot. And it was very easy to just follow their lead because all 3 kids just took me in as their own birth mom. Now that we've progressed into an open adoption, and even open adoptions have a lot of variety, where I know some birth moms that have open adoptions, and they meet, very specific times every year. For Andrew's family and myself, we just kind of meet when we can. And it usually ends up being once or twice a year. And always for special events too. There's still an antique language that we use to talk about adoption. And we say that this girl gave her baby away. I didn't give him away. I didn't give up on him. I gave him a first chance at a good life. And I gave myself a second chance. Language hopefully will evolve to reflect the change that has happened in the world of adoption. Probably one of the biggest surprises is to come from a place of shame and disappointment to being loved and respected and trusted. That's a big difference. I don't think that making an adoption plan takes away those emotions. It certainly doesn't take away your right to love that baby. But the emotions, the tears, they're not because of regret. They're just a reminder of what was, and maybe in a lot of ways just gratitude that it's not that way that now. I think a lot of girls that get in this situation have other issues. Doesn't just happen. It's a symptom of something else. So having Andrew out there somewhere, knowing that one day he would grow up and know who I was, that was my light at the end of the tunnel. I now have the time and the motivation to become somebody he could be proud of.